Hello, everybody. It is me, Lady Helen. I'm so excited. I promise you guys that once I had got Project 5 developed, I mean, not Project 5, sorry, Project 6, that's the one that we're on, that I would come through. And once I would come through, I would make sure that I do the guide for you. So while we're in the chat and everything, let me know exactly where are you tuning in from today. Are you in Texas? Are you a current Texas teacher? Let us know exactly where you are coming from. If you haven't seen before, I have previously done five of the other projects as well to serve as a guide and an exemplar for maybe you're kind of having struggles. You want to know what that actually looks like and kind of having that visual guide there because this is a virtual program. And so since this is a virtual program, sometimes we don't have the community to like actually build or community that where we can come in together, we can talk about the projects, we can go through the projects together. Again, I see some more of you coming in as well. Again, hit the chat, let me know exactly where you are watching from, and we are going to get into the projects. This is how the flow is gonna flow this evening. So we're not gonna be on here long. So if you have your questions, make sure you get them towards the end. I will drop the link so you're able to come up. If you have any questions that you would like to ask regarding the projects, you will be able to ask them accordingly. And I'll help you as much as I have. Of course, as much as I can as well. So we're going to be going over Project 6. Now, Project 6 is the last project. So if you done got through Project 1, Project 2, 3, 4, and 5, because 4 and 5, remember, you well actually 3, 4, and 5, you're actually using the same lesson plan accordingly. But I think what some people are having problems with is that making sure you're following the rubric. Okay, I'm gonna go to the screen there, and we're gonna hop in to Project 6. Okay, there we go. We're on the screen there and everything. All right, since now that we are on the screen, I'm gonna go over here into Texas Teachers while I still actually have access to it. Okay, so this project is called the Ideal Learner Environment and the Behavior Management Plan. Right. So in this particular example, we're going to be going you're going to basically applying how you want your classroom to be managed, how you want to create a positive classroom environment, and also your behavior management plan. So this means that you're going to have rules that are going to be in place, right? and Research recommends that you have 3 to 5 rules. Anything more than that is actually too many rules. Okay, so this project is very heavily research based, but the way to pass this thing on the first time and not having to go through multiple multiple submissions and all that good stuff like that is to follow the rubric. Okay, and so they get let's go to home there. We're gonna go to home. Okay, is following the rubric. So you'll start your project accordingly. And once you have started your project, it's going to say download this response template. So you're going to download the response template. Okay. So you'll download it here and it's going to have this. You want to keep this same format. Okay. The same format with the 4 questions, because you're going to have 4 questions, and then you're going to have the place where you're going to put your behavioral, chart. I mean, your rules, expectation, right? Okay, you have all that there. So make sure, of course, you download that, and you're going to be able to open it up inside, inside of like a Word document. And it says you must score at least 64 points out of 80 to pass the assignment. And it says please allow 3 to 5 business days of submission for scoring. It took the 2 times I had to submit this, it took them 5 days each time. Okay. So, and then on the 5th day, I had to send an email to curriculum. And then once I sent the email, and they was like, oh, because I said, hey, the rule says 3 to 5 days, and it's been 5 days. I haven't received an update, and literally about an hour later, it was it was scored. So just remember, if you're going beyond that fifth day and they haven't, just send a nice little email. You don't have to be ugly. It's a nice little email to curriculum and let them know that, hey, I'm waiting for my project to be graded. It has not. Please advise. That's what I wrote. And like an hour later or so, that's when they actually came over there and graded the project. So they have the thing, and they actually give you an exemplar. So the first component is, it says you will explain your vision of ideal learning environment for the age and subject you're intended to teach in a professionally written and typed using correct grammar, because your grammar ain't correct, they're gonna take out ask me how I know, and spelling. And it's gonna say use the response template, which is the template you download. And it says your submission should be 3 to 5 pages, 12 points, double space. And it gives you the question it's going to ask: how do you create and maintain a mutually respected and collaborative class of actively engaged learners? Include how you respond to the students needs and incorporate students strength and personal experiences. The second question is, what strategies will you use to build relationships? The next one is, how would you physically organize the classroom, to ensure flexibility and accommodate the learning needs of all students, including those with disabilities, right? Now, I want you to remember this right here because it's going to help you on tests as well. Is that when you are creating an environment, when you're creating a lesson plan, it don't matter if a person has a disability or not. You're always are going to consider your lesson plans and accommodations, etc., for all your students, regardless of disabilities or anything like that. So it says consider things such as the 3 zones of proximity, and we'll talk about that, and also explain how your behavior plan below supports this vision. Okay, that's component one. Component two is saying basically after you fully explain your environment you wish to create, you will consider how to accomplish this. It say you will create a behavior management plan using a template provided. Your behavior management system should help create and maintain the environment explained in the paper. The behavior management plan must include the following: 3 to 5 positively worded rules that can be consistently enforced. And remember that I told you your classroom and everything is going to be based in research. So everything, your answers and the things and how you respond to this is always going to be based. It's going to be research based. So research based say that effective classrooms have 3 to 5 rules. That's what the research say. Okay, and so it's obviously it's asking you for those and everything. The expectation 3 to 5, so everything is going to match. So if you do 3, you do 3. You do 4, you do 4. You go beyond, do 5. You do 5. And then the procedures, at least 3 common classroom tasks, examples, hand and back paper. It gives you examples and all that, right? And it's going to tell you the scoring rubric. So if you now this is one right here is like this is the thing, and you want to follow this. If you follow your rubrics, I'm gonna open this rubric so you guys can see what it looked like. So if you follow the rubric, you are going to master this because either you're going to be here or here. Okay, you're going to be at proficient or you're going to be an expert, right? And I know a lot of us, we was doing this and everything, and then when we was doing this we get tired and we like, oh my god, I don't want to write no more, I'm tired of writing, right? So however, guys, if you follow the rubric, and if I would have followed the rubric because I didn't, I just answered the question, I wouldn't have had to resubmit this project when I did, because it gives you solid information, right? So on question one, it say for paper creating and maintaining the environment classrooms, right? Okay, it gives you, if you're an expert, you're going to include 3 to 5 specific research-based studies for promoting a positive classroom. You're going to talk about collaboration and respect and explicitly supported by strategies chosen. Strategies embrace students' strength and experience as an asset support, social and emotional learning needs of student, right? So if you're proficient, it gives the rubric, right? So when you're going through your questions, make sure you are addressing these things. It's looking at the it's telling you the standard and all that good stuff. So when you answer the question, you want to have that rubric right there. So if you have that rubric there, you're going to say, "Oh, I didn't include this. Oh, I didn't add this. Oh, I might need to add this or that." Right? So the rubric you're going to use as you can use that as your guide. Not only that, with the rubric, they also give you an exemplar as well. Okay. And here goes the exemplars, like, oh, this is a new teacher, a and it shows you how they're how they written their paper, how they're inserting, their research and all that, right? It's giving you an exemplar as well on how to on what they're looking for. So you have this model, right? And so an exemplar is nothing but a model for you to use for your research based paper. Because in education, guess what, y'all? Everything. I'm gonna bring myself up to the front so you can remember that. So remember that in education, everything is research based, right? Especially here in the state of Texas. The things that we use inside of the classroom will always be research based. Would it always be perfect? Absolutely not. But however, our instruction, our philosophies, when it comes to education, regardless of how you express it, should always be research based. So you want to just keep that in mind. And the reason why I keep saying research based, because also when we go in and we're taking our PPR test and we're taking, because I know even when I passed my SPED exam, everything was literally was research based. It was research based. So it's research based in how something looks and how something is implemented in the classroom. And so that's what Texas Teachers is trying to make sure that we all do. So let's go back. Let's go back to the screen. Well, hold on too. Let's see who all do we have. Let's see, who do we all have on this on there? Is anybody there? Y'all not there, but I'm pretty sure if you're definitely, if you're catching a replay, tell me where you're watching from, where you viewing from. Let me know. Have you got your SOE? Well, obviously you don't have your SOE if you probably watching this, right? You like, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I work through this or whatever? But shout out to you again. Don't be afraid of the comments. Don't be afraid to talk to me. That's what I'm here as well. Because I wish I had somebody here as well when I was that would be a help. And so, hello, I excel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going over a project that we're doing for Texas teachers, and now I'm about to get into the project. If y'all haven't already, he's a trucker, amazing content creator. Be sure to go over to I Excel, press that subscribe button. Let's help him get to about. Let's help him get to his first. What was that? 500. Let's help him get to the first 500 subscribers over there. Y'all go do me that favor, and thank you so much for supporting Talk Help. So here we go, guys. We're gonna go back to the screen there and everything, and we're gonna go into the project. So obviously, when I did the project, I have my name, obviously, and my grade level. So my certification area is in SPED, early childhood. That's what EC stands for, through the 12th grade. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And it says, it asks the first question: how do you create and maintain a mutually respectful and collaborative class of actively engaged learners? Include how it responds to students' needs and incorporate students' strengths and personal experience. You must use research to support your selection of these strategies. So I went in, and y'all can go on my Google and you can read what I have, what I written and all that. Okay, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do that. But this is what I want to talk about here. Your citing your sources. So citing your sources, you're going to use like a hanging feature, but you're going to include a works cited page. When you include your works cited page, because if you don't include your works cited page, is they're going to kick it back to you, because you always need to put where did you get your sources from. I got my sources from EBSCOhost. A lot of my a lot of my stuff came from like journals and different things of that nature. And so when you do your works cited page, you're gonna have you if you done forgot how to, do it in whichever style you prefer. They said you can do APA, MLA, Chicago, whichever one you're comfortable with quoting. They said that was fine. And so of course I'm used to writing my papers in APA form. So Purdue, it's called Owl Purdue, and I have the link in the description. They have a citation source thing where you can obviously put it in here and you can cite it. Well, that's using Citation Machine. But if you come over here, you're gonna see where it says APA style 7th edition. So it's gonna show you all the different the formatting styles and all that. If you click on there, it's going to show you how to do in-text citations. It's going to show you, and it goes down and it shows you how to do that. If you forgot, it shows you how to do, it gives you the basic rules on making your reference list, and it shows you how to do articles, books, print sources, etc. Okay, that's if you want to read it and you want to manually cite your sources. However, if you say, my struggle is real, you will want to go to this site right here called Citation Machine. You can always upgrade where they can check your papers, and it's like $9 a month. But to create citations, you just get you put it as a website, book, journal, whatever, and then they say choose your source. So if it's a website, you'll literally get that website, copy and paste it, and it's gonna do the citations and all that stuff for you, and you're able to save the list as you're doing your research, and then you'll be able to pull it. Now, when you say, well, where do I get my research strategies from? Where do I get that from? Another thing is going to be Google Scholar. If you have access to your university's EBSCO host, then obviously the same information that's on Google Scholar is going to be in EBSCO host as well. Okay. So if I'm doing, ways to create, what was the first question it was asking me? And we'll just do this as an example where it says create and maintain a collaborative class of engaged learners. So I might, right here, I'm gonna copy and paste, I'll copy this. Oh, or if oh man, I'm trying to, okay, well, I can't copy and paste it right now. So I'm gonna put collaborative act, collaboration or something. So collaboration in and active learners, So I'm gonna look up, what does it mean by active learners? Faculty is active learners about their practice toward innovation and change in nursing education. So I'm gonna maybe pull from here you go. Helping learners learn through class content collaboration, right? And so I see this comes from the College of Teaching Volume 2. Now it's gonna give me the abstract. So when it gives me the abstract, it's gonna tell me. Otherwise, if I want to get access to it, I might have to pay for it. But I don't want to pay for that. I'm not fit to. They is out their mind, and I'm not fit to pay no $47 for this. So you can always log in through your institution. So if you have, a school or something like that, like I have a school, it'll take you to your school, or you can just take the article, right, and then just look it up in EBSCOhost if you still have access to that. Most of the universities still allows their alumni to have access to those, the journals and things of that nature. And it's just a call and say, hey, I need access to EBSCOhost. They'll put your email through, and give you access. And so that's how I was able to go through um, and do that. They also have the thing on here where it'll do the citation, the actual citations for you, or you can come over here and do it somewhere. But it'll tell you how many people done even cited this page and all that stuff like that. So when you are using Google Scholar, you're able. I love Google Scholar, and I know we've used this tool. Let me put Scholar on there. We've used the tool before because not only can you find articles, but you can find case laws. And even with your articles, you can let me go back here. Even with your articles, you can also narrow it down to the last maybe 10 years, okay? If you want to use more recent research, right? And it's standard practice when you're doing research based articles as well to use items that's between 5 to 7. It's kind of pushing it, but 7 years and early, so from 2022 you can go back 7 years. But when it comes to education, you have a little more leeway because guess what, so a lot of things in education stay the same unless it's just like some major finding or something like that. So you are able to use articles from 10 years ago or even articles for 20 years ago. But however, when using your research from 20 years ago, that becomes very subjective in an academic setting. But however, this is not for, you're not getting your doctorates or or anything like that. You're actually getting your teachers your teacher certification. We have a question. How many hours it took you to do Project 6? Hello, Wadner. It took me approximately maybe four 4 hours. It took me 4 hours to actually do it, and then it took me okay, I'll say five because it's the researching part that takes a lot of the time. I've been in the classroom already, and so when it came to like the behavior stuff, not the behavior, but the classroom rules, classroom expectation, classroom this and that. I've been in the classroom before, so that made it a little. Please stop. It made it a little easier for me, but it took me about approximately about 4 hours. 4 hours to actually do to 4 hours to actually do that. So yeah, it didn't take that long at all, but it's just like it's the research part. And so that's what I really wanted to make sure that you guys know is that on the research part, you just want to make sure that you're quoting, you're citing your sources, and make sure you're citing them even within the text as well, that you're citing them accordingly. All right. Here we go. What I'm gonna do now is that I'll continue. I'll go through and show you guys my rules as well. But I'm going to put the StreamYard link in the description there. So this is a rule. If you come up to the StreamYard link, let me know who you are. You don't necessarily have to keep your camera on or anything like that, but I do need to see your face. Just let me see your face, and then you're able to turn it. You're able to turn it right back off and everything. But if you have questions on any of the projects 1 through 5 while I'm here and live, and I told you guys why I had when I had some time today that I would come on and answer those questions for you. You're more than welcome to definitely come up as well. And if you have, and some of you's like, I'm getting into it, you have questions about how do I find a place to do my observations or things of that nature, just let me know. And I can help you and guide you in that direction as well. As you know, I've already finished all 6 of my projects, which I'm so excited. I'm so excited to knock that out. And we also have supplemental courses after that. It's just going to depend on which area you're in. So I'll show you. So when you finish let me go to the screen there, because when you finish your all your projects, it's gonna Let's see, let me log in real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. And I know some of you is like, hold on, what he say? 1 second, let me go back there. I just seen the comment. She says, similar for me. I taught kids in China English. I know how they be. Oh yeah, let me tell you something. Even with being in different geographical area, like the children in China, they're trained from home, right? Here in America, but in America, it is it's really different because when it comes to that, the teacher is literally having to do the job of the parent sometimes because many of the children here in America, like because many of them were under their parents, a lot of them wasn't educational minded as with our Chinese brothers and sisters. They're more educational minded. They're more in, when you need to be in this, you need to get an education, and education is like the priority. Like you don't see, I mean, you see Chinese children playing games and being kids, but like here, our kids will play games all day, and we won't stop and let them read. We won't, do educational things at home to help them in school. So when they in school, they know the focus, they know the assignment, they know, hey, we ready to learn. And so that's why there's a lot of behavior management problems in many of our United States in our United States classroom, is because a lot of these behavioral things aren't taught at home. If these things were more taught at home, I think we would see less behavioral problems in classroom. I work in special education, and I work with a lot of students who do have behavioral problems. But as in special education, we have a thing that's called social skills. Social skills is when you take a child out for like 15 minutes or so, whether it's during the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, and you're teaching them social. I think social skills are more effective in the morning time because the principles that you're teaching the children during in the morning time, they're able to implement, and you can kind of do like a check-in with them kind of throughout the day and saying, hey, are we applying our skills? Are we thank you, girl. I'll be trying. And shout out to Miss Inya Kenya. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going over Project Six. We're also talking about behavior management styles and different things of that different things of that nature. Today for the assignment number 6. So I'm gonna go back to the screen real quick. We'll go back to the screen. Okay, I told y'all about Google Scholar and all that. I told you about Purdue. I told you about the citation machine. And so here we go. I think question number 2, it says, what strategies will you use to build relationships with students? Use research to support your selection of those strategies and identify and explain. So now this is a whole different this is a whole different thing, right? It's more I get to know you, you get to know me. It's kind of the philosophy and in which I take. And I know many people when they start their getting to know their students, they always do this. Oh well, I'm gonna do the get to know you card. I'm a all all of that, right? So that stuff is effective. Don't get me don't get me wrong, but I like to do an assessment on my children and ask them, hey, what is your learning style? How do you learn? How do you not learn? What do you like when the teacher do? So it's little interpersonal questions that you begin to ask, because you can ask the student. Getting to know your students is going to require the participation, obviously, of your of your students, right? So it's going to require the participation of your students and also participation as well. Now, once you have the children's information of how they say they learn, what they like, their favorite color, their this, their that, and then you also have parental input about the learn, and typically they'll match each other if your students are honest. I found that the same thing when it came to learning styles, my students would say if they would learn the parents, when I got to say, tell me about your child, form and I put both of the data together, they typically they typically would match, right? So yeah, so in that section, just how you're gonna get to know your kids and whatever research that you that you definitely have for that. One Wagner, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. If I'm saying it incorrectly, I apologize. Charge it to the brain, not the heart. I think your name is Wagner. And Wagner says, I wish I did Texas teacher when we was on lockdown, when observation was all online and waiver for content exam was in effect. Yes, honey, because that's one. You know what? That's what I gotta finish now because I took off a year after that. My first year when I started I started Texas Teachers in 2019, and I did 15 hours online, and then I did a whole another 30 hours because I stayed the whole week at McKinney High School as well. And then afterwards, just make sure so you don't forget that you do your you know it was like a paper that was in 2019, and we had to write like a paper or something. It was like a little paper, and it was asking what we oh, okay, I said it correctly. Awesome. I know, because I don't like nobody messing up my name, so I don't want to mess up nobody else's name. I know we had to write like a paper, and in the paper it asked us like what what was going on, how did you observe the learning styles, this, that, and the third. I have a whole video. I'm gonna bring it from my other channel over here, guys. So I'll bring it over here, and maybe we'll do a live all about um finding, getting the observation hours, how you go about it, etc. Because the way, I'll just tell you how I did it when I did my observation hours was that I was going to go to Frisco because that's the school I was already working for Frisco ISD, but you had to be like in the regular like UTA or something like that, one of those teaching programs, to come over and be an observer. They were the only ISD in the dang district in the dang state that didn't allow student observers, like from if you're from an alternative certification program. So I went over to the next city, which for me at that time was McKinney, and I literally went online. I filled out the little application. You had to put your social security number, all that stuff in there, and they do a mini background check. And when they do a mini background check, what they do, they approve you, and then once they approve you, the person is going to send you an email. Now, when the person sends you the email, they're gonna say, "Hey, okay." You tell them your certification area, and then they're gonna match you with a person to to observe and everything. And they was like, oh, I was like, well, I'll volunteer. I just woke up, and I just started having fun with the cheering and stuff. And I was in my content area. I was kind of moving around like the different areas so I could actually see the different things. So that was a wonderful. I really enjoyed myself there, and then to meet other people who were in the Texas Teachers Program as well, who got their standards, who were actually working. It was so encouraging because I was able to to see that. So I was able to do my observation, and then of course I continued because I was doing school at the same time. And then I was like, oh, and then at the end of the school year, that's when the principal was like, hey, there is a position open, are you still in your ACP? And I'm like, of course. And she was like, girl, go apply. So I went and applied. But anyway, ended up applying and everything, and then I ended up getting a teacher's position, and I hadn't even passed my SPED content yet, right? And then Governor Abbott issued the waiver, and then once he issued the waiver, everybody got their SOE, and the SOE stands for statement of eligibility. So the station of eligibility was given out, and it's just a paper. It's not some special form or anything like that. And then of course you have to pay for your intern certificate, which is about $78. And once you pay for that, they'll have you as a teacher of record and all that. Now, what I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I do not recommend anybody, okay? And I'll say finish your projects and your stuff first before you start applying. because you already gonna have to be, passing your content exams and all of that. But if you get all of that stuff out the way, it's gonna make it easier going through your intern year, because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake that I made, was that once once you're in the school year and you're going through arts, you're going through this and that and the third, okay? Because I was a special education teacher and also dealing with behavior stuff. You're going it's gonna be almost impossible. I'm not gonna say impossible. Anything is possible, but if you're like myself, I have a husband, 4 children, etc., and then try to still manage my home. Making sure my house is taken care of and everything, and then you still have the responsibility of your own children. You know what I'm saying? Your own house, your own children, and if your children have IEP meetings and all that good stuff like that, you still have to manage your own stuff, right? And still keep a sane mind at the same time while trying to finish that program. So I recommend anybody, especially this summer, y'all, go through your program, go through the little classes, get all your supplementals out the way. So the that only thing that you have left is going to be like the intern project. And so then when it's time to get your teacher recommendation, your principal recommendation, you'll be ready for your standard. Okay. So that's pretty much it there. I gotta call my sister back. And Wilder said, "Okay, I will finish my projects before I apply." Another girl who did Texas Teacher said the same thing. Oh yes, do your projects. When I tell you do your projects first, you'll thank us later, because again, because as a first year teacher, you're learning your students. Not only are you learning your students, but you're learning your campus, you're learning your administrators, you're learning their processes and different things of that nature, right? You're learning what works, what don't works, and everything. You're getting that real life experience. I dropped the link below. I don't know how to do it, but I dropped the link below. It's a StreamYard link. If you would like to come up and ask any questions, be sure you can just hit that link, and you'll be able to come up and I can answer any question here online for you live in the flesh. So we're gonna go back to the project real quick, and as we go back to the project, all right, we'll go back to question number 3, which says, how would you physically organize your classroom and ensure flexibility, accommodate learning needs of other students, including those with disabilities, and consider the 3 zones of proximity, right? Remember, I told you guys when you are doing that to make sure that you align your question, Let's go down to where it says question number 3, that you're going to align your questions with the grading rubric. All right. So you want to be in this zone or this zone. You're gonna pass. So you need to, what it's asking you to do, you want to make sure that you're answering those questions. If you don't know what zones of proximity is, I'm going to explain to you right now. Okay. Now explain the zones of proximity. So the zones of proximity is like right now I'm face to face with you, right? And in my immediate proximity will be the people on the left side of me and the children that are on the right hand side of me. That's one zone. You have another zone, which is my next to my immediate zone. I call them the stoplights. That's how we would say in elementary. So you have your red zone, you have a yellow zone, and then you have a red zone, yellow zone, green zone. The green zone, the kid can still see you, but you can't really see everything they're doing. So in the green zone, they can cut up if they want to. But if I just step back 1 feet, now my students in the green zone become my students in the yellow zone. And my red zone students become students in my green zone. But no matter where I move at any time, because we're constantly moving around the classroom. And another thing that's important to mention in question number 3 is to mention about safety, right? Because in all things, theoretically, we want the students to always feel safe. So make sure you're implementing safeties in your zones of proximity, and you can do. They got plenty of videos on YouTube that goes into the zones of the zones of proximities. But it's basically what I told you. Literally, you got those that are in your immediate view, that are in your immediate view, and then kind of out of your immediate view. But anytime you're able, anywhere that you step, they can instantly be in the red zone. So you're always kind of not necessarily walking around your class, but you you always have your students in a zone of proximity. Number one, they're gonna always feel safe. And number two, you're able to make physical eye contact without saying a word. And so making eye contact, they'll straighten up because they don't want to cut up, they don't want to get in trouble, and they don't want to feel embarrassed, right? And that's all based in research when it talks about the zones of proximity. Okay, so let's go back to the project real quick. I think we got just another part. All right, we got another part there. Let me take this off. Woo-hoo. All right, here we go. So, of course, you're gonna put your sources, all that good stuff, and explain your zones of proximity and how all that good stuff like that. Number four, and it is explain how. I'm sorry. Now, when I'm live, that's when the dogs want to talk. So, explain how your behavior management plan supports your vision for the ideal learning environment. Okay, and I'll just read it to you because it's not sure. It's not. Can you get them, please? Um, and I put them. I said my ideal classroom have rules to follow. The first thing I would always do is check how my students are feeling when they enter the classroom. Okay. On the whiteboard is projected my students' number that they are assigned in class. I have a mood board where they place the type of mood they're in. This allows me to mentally know where my students are. Color ranges from red to green. Red equals they are not in a nice space. Blue equals I am okay, but I have some issues today. Yellow equals I'm all right. Green equals I'm good. Being able to identify what the students have going on lets me know the type of mood that they are in. And the goal is to have everyone in the green, yellow, or green area. Once the students let me know the type of mood, each of them, they go to their assigned seats, start their daily 5-minute practice. Each of the students know that for the 5 minutes, we are focused on our own drill, which gives me an opportunity to take attendance while not losing any instructional time. Part of the behavioral management program includes me walking and observing students as they work independently in groups. Many of my students have or may need help. So Lord Jesus, the expectation is that I know that they need help, so they would need to raise their hands. They are not to yell across the room, but to raise their hands so that I, the teacher, know that they need help. Once the expectation is that if you see the teacher talking to another student, to wait your turn because I will answer everyone. We will have to take turns. One of the rules to help with this is to allow others to finish their sentences before you start your sentences. This helps the student to wait until their turn and also know that every person will be addressed in the classroom. Setting these ground rules provides a respectful learning environment for all learners. This is an expression we had to use in the classroom that says we have to mask low before we bloom. We have to mask low before we bloom. So so at that point, I'm gonna read the whole thing, but at that point, I'm telling Maslow before we bloom. We all know what that means, right? So Maslow, which means our needs have to be met, right? Because in order to effectively learn to bloom, then guess what? We have to make sure those needs are met. And so when my kids come into the room, I'm asking them, where are you? So if I know what mental zone you're in, then if you're in a red zone, you're not going to be ready to learn. So even while we're doing our proximity drills, I can go and ask them, how are you doing today? Or what's going on? Would you like to talk about this later? Or, something like that. So we can get the child regulated into a yellow or a green zone. Because once the child is, regulates and go to a yellow or a green zone, that means that they are actively ready to learn. But if they're in the red zone, they ain't gonna learn because they mad, right? They be what they say, they big mad. They big mad at everything. So, well, basically, again, guys, when you're going through Project Six, you're going to go through and you're going to put your stuff in there. Okay. So once you put the information that is asking for you, follow your rubric. Again, I put an example. They have their own exemplar. I put my exemplar. If you wanted to follow that, you're more than welcome to go to my Google Drive. It's open and available to you guys. I got all the projects in there, through um, 1 through 5. So those are definitely in there. So since those are in there, you can use that as a guide. Again, I put the link out if you guys want to come up, but if you didn't, it's okay. We'll do another live soon. I just need to pull that video. I was gonna pull that video, but I might just play it because it's on my other channel. But I'll pull that video over here, and we'll talk about finding a school, how you go about that, and if you have a particular school that you like, I don't know where to find it at, then you can just definitely put the link there. So does anybody in the audience, if do you have any questions? If not, honey, we is about to load golf and everything. As you see, my kids have been running around. You probably heard them and my dogs in the background. But however, let's see, let's go. Did I miss anybody? No, I don't think I missed anybody. Well, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's grow this channel. Our next major goal is to get to what are we? We're at 200 now. So our next goal is to get to 300 subscribers. And oh, thank you, get to 300 subscribers, then I need your help to get there. So you can share with this, somebody that's in the program, or you're part of a group, any ACP group. Most of the ACPs do work this. Most of the ACP groups do work this. Y'all see what I just said. I can't repeat it. ACP groups do works the same and everything. So, and like I said, if I know something, I can help you. If I know somebody, we'll definitely find somebody that can help you in your journey. So, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, God bless you all. Bye now.